Hey there, welcome. It's Christine. So, this afternoon is Tuesday. It's just 2 days before Thanksgiving. And about this time of day, you might be defrosting your frozen turkey that you're going to use for Thanksgiving. If you're one of the millions of people in the United States that celebrates Thanksgiving. So I'm going to be sharing some interesting information today about the wild turkey that's native to North and Central America. Okay, and here's a sketch I did, and I'll tell you later on how you can get the tutorial on learning how to make this sketch out of oil pastels. Okay, so let's get started. So today's presentation is an homage to the wild turkey of our Thanksgiving feasts. And so I'm presenting it. If you haven't met me today, I'm Christine Elder, and I want to make this a little bit bigger. I'm a naturalist, environmental educator, and visual artist from Central Oregon, where we do have wild turkeys. And this is a picture of me actually in Guatemala. Searching for the turkey that is the closest relative to our wild North American turkey. And this is called the ocellated turkey. And this is a beautiful species and also highly endangered because of habitat loss and hunting. So, anyway, that's me. And I also lead nature sketching tours to interesting places like in the neotropics. So let's keep going here. So, what are we going to learn today? So, I'm going to teach you a little bit about the history of the wild turkey domestication. It's been around a lot longer than you probably think it has, and a bit about its biology and natural history, and of course, its anatomy. Because if you know how an animal or plant is put together and what it looks like from the outside, it's much easier for you to sketch it in the field with skill and accuracy and speed. And you might be able to see one in the field because our North American wild turkey lives in 49 of the 50 states. And I'll tell you more about that in just a second. But lastly, at the very end, I'm going to tell you a bit about my course. It's my foundational course. It was the very first course I started building 5 years ago, and it's my largest course with several hundred students in it. And it's called Sketching Backyard Birds. And I'll tell you about that at the end if you really love learning about birds, if you're a bird watcher or want to learn how to sketch them, or become a better bird watcher through the process of sketching. So I'm going to make this picture bigger so that you can really see my slides. And so wild turkeys originated in the Americas. They've been around for millions of years. The first direct ancestor to wild turkeys appeared during the Pliocene. And even there's fossils in Florida that date back 23 million years. Because turkeys are so large, one of the largest of the flying birds, especially in their family, their bones tend to fossilize well. And so lots of fossils have been found. And so, speaking of thousands of years ago, turkeys were first raised by Native Americans in Mexico and Central America. And we've got fossils, I believe, actually back several thousand years now. And the Mayans and other groups in Central America worshiped the wild turkey. It may have been our species, it may have been the ocellated turkey or a progenitor of both of those. But as you can see in this historic pot here, this is a head of a turkey, and you can see that it's clearly got all those bumps on the head and the little snood and the long beak. And we'll talk about snoods later. So, Spanish explorers, when they first came to the New World, they took some of those turkeys that had been domesticated by local peoples back to Europe in 1519, and they rapidly spread and became a very highly valued favorite feast. And then, actually, when British colonists came to America, to North America, they brought turkeys with them and were actually quite surprised to see wild turkeys in North America as well. They had actually sort of forgotten that they actually came from the Americas. And so the first Thanksgiving in 1621, here's an illustration. And they were serving what was called wild fowl, but it's not quite known if it was actually had our turkey there. There probably were other wild fowl like geese and ducks, but potentially turkeys, and certainly at following Thanksgivings. Now, Benjamin Franklin was thought to have said that the wild turkey should have been our national symbol instead of the bald eagle. And it's not really clear if that was quite true, but he did say he did really love turkeys. And he did say, quote, "The turkey is in comparison to the bald eagle, a much more respectable bird, and with all a true original native America, a bird of courage, and would not hesitate to attack a grenadier of the British Guards who should presume to invade his farmyard with a red coat on." So a little bit later, John James Audubon, the famous illustrator of birds, including this panel here of the wild turkey and its babies there in the background. He even had a wild turkey. He owned a wild turkey. So over the decades, wild turkeys became nearly extinct. They were once numerous in America's oak and chestnut forests, and you may know that the chestnut blight wiped out most of the wild chestnuts, which the turkeys relied on, as well as passenger pigeons. They were also overhunted and they lost habitat. So they almost went extinct. And for example, in 1821, the last turkey in Massachusetts was killed. But during the 20th century, wild turkeys came back, especially in the mid 1940s, thanks to relocation programs. And now they're in every state, and around 8 million of them are wild in the United States. And here's a nice map from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology's All About Birds website, showing their distribution. Now, since they are throughout the United States, they are in many, many different habitats. And so, they go mainly in different sorts of forests, either deciduous forests or mixed conifer forests, and also savannas and grasslands. So many, many habitat types, depending on where they're at and what season it is. So they have interesting behaviors. They are known as being a very smart bird. Maybe you don't think of the domesticated turkey as smart, but the wild turkeys are quite smart. They're very large, among the largest in their family. And they're very smart and known to be hard to hunt by hunters. They can fly a mile up to 55 miles per hour. And they can run well too, because they are primarily ground dwelling. They do need to run from their predators like wild dogs and cats, and predators like humans. And at night, they roost in trees. And you can see how camouflaged this one is. So they escape their predators by roosting in trees. So what do they eat? They have a really wide diet. They're considered omnivores. So it depends on the season and the habitat they're in. But generally, they do eat a lot of seeds, nuts, acorns, flower bulbs, and even insects, snails and beetles. And when it gets to be winter and it's a little bit harder to find food, they'll scratch around and look for things, maybe even the buds, flower buds of conifers. So it just depends. But they'll even eat, little insects and even salamanders and little frogs. So omnivorous. And they do have a name for their flocks. Most animals have names for the groups of them, and they can be known as a crop, a dole, a gang, a posse, a raffle. And they do live in groups of up to 200. So young birds are called poults, like the one on the left, and a young male is specifically called a jake. Now, adult males are known as toms, and you can see him on the left. And the females are known as hens, and they do have some differences. Toms are generally a lot larger, about a third larger, up to about 17 pounds. And the female is about 10 pounds. Now, the male has this beautiful coloration as well. Lots of beautiful kind of blues and purples and blacks and coppers. And their wings are barred with brown and white. And they often fan their tail out, especially when they're trying to impress their mates. So sort of like a peacock. And they have these beards down here, although it's said about 10% of female birds have beards. Now, here's a female. They're a lot more camouflaged, just like a lot of female birds in the world, so that they don't attract attention when they are having their babies. And so their colors are a lot more muted and blend in with a background. And their head is generally more gray, not so flashy and fancy. And here's a female, again, a little bit more blended in with her background. And here's some of her poults. And as soon as they're born, they're pretty independent and they can run around. So actually, the male tom wild turkey doesn't play any role in raising the young compared to other bird species you may be familiar with, like our American robin. So he goes his own way and the female takes care of the babies. But yeah, as soon as 24 hours after hatching, the young poults are up and running in search of food. So now I want to talk about some of the parts of the turkey. And again, if you know my work, if you've taken classes with me before, you really know that I focus a lot on the anatomy so that you can really get used to identifying them in the field, as well as knowing what to look for. And the more you know the external anatomy, the more you can draw them with ease and confidence, especially wild ones in the field. Possibly you have seen one. Again, they are throughout the United States. I saw them frequently growing up in the foothills of California. And so they're quite common. So I'd love to train you to be able to see all their parts so that you can sketch them with more accuracy. So in general, you know, they have a large body, as I said, up to 17 pounds in the male. Very strong wings, and they're strong flyers. And of course, those wings are strong because of the muscles in their wings. And of course, that's related to the meat you eat at Thanksgiving, having a nice big breast muscles. That tail can be fanned out just like a peacock's, especially when the male is showing off for the female. And the male and female differ, as I mentioned. Now, here's some nice adult tom gobblers, as they call them. They're also called gobblers or tom, which is the male wild turkey. And again, here you can see these beautiful coppery colors of gold and copper and bronze. And you can see that they have really well-defined groups of feathers. So you can see here, comparing the two here, you can see really nice grouping of the pair of breast feathers. And over here, you can see the barred primary feathers and the barred secondaries. And then all of these feathers called coverts. And then the neck and back feathers. And then there are these shorter feathers that you can see a little bit better here, as well as, I guess, here. And those are the upper tail coverts. And then you have the tail feathers. So when here's a little sketch, and this shows those groupings of feathers again, and comparing them to my illustration here, my color-coded illustration, which I have as a download inside my course, which I'll tell you about at the end. But anyway, when you're drawing this tom turkey, you can see that there's these two sets of breast feathers, and then the primaries, the secondaries, a bunch of types of coverts, and then you have the feathers of the nape, and then the back, and then the tail. And this is an amazing, beautiful photo from photographer David Turco. He posted this on eBird, and he also has an amazing website of his photographs at davidturcophotography.net. But this is just an amazing picture of a female flying. And here you can really see those different groupings of feathers as well. And again, you want to know about those when you're sketching them. So here we've got these pointed primaries. We've got this row of secondaries, a bunch of shorter coverts, as they call them, and then the neck and back feathers, the upper tail coverts, and then that beautiful banded tail. So speaking of feathers, adult turkeys have 5,000 to 6,000 feathers. Imagine in the old days when you had to go and hunt your own turkey and then pull off every single one of those feathers. So here again is some two pictures comparing the genders. We have the tom turkey and some pictures of some hens. And in this side view of the tom, you can see another characteristic that almost all toms have, and just a few hens, and this is called the beard. And this looks like a little bit of a ponytail, or like a mane of a horse, and it sticks out between the two pairs of breast feathers. And it gets longer and longer as the male matures. You can also see his very colorful head, that he can change color with his mood. And then here are the females, again, more camouflaged, and their heads are more plain and kind of grayish. Now, looking more closely, there's some interesting anatomical features that are fairly unique to turkeys. One is this wrinkled neck with these sort of hills and valleys of red and gray lines, and these are called the caruncles. And then the snood is here. That's this piece that comes off the top of the base of the bill and hangs down and can vary in size. Show you a picture of that in a minute. And then the wattle or dewlap, and that's under their neck. And here, the tom gobbler can enlarge his snood. That's this part in the front. By putting blood into it, and can enlarge it again to attract the females. And of course, the females, or the hens, prefer large snoods. So here's a snood again, this little fleshy part that is attached between the eye and the bill. And this one's sort of medium length. So again, he can pump some blood into that and quickly change it in size if he's trying to attract some females. And here's another nice photo showing the long beard of the adult male coming out like a little ponytail between those two sets of beautiful breast feathers. And this bird has all of his feathers really puffed out. Often they'll do that behaviorally when they're trying to attract a female or because of aggression, but sometimes they often also do that to warm themselves up. Now their legs are long and powerful. Like I said, they can run quite fast and far. And in this photo, you can see another uniquely male structure. It's called a spur. And this is kind of halfway up the leg, and it is very sharp and gets longer with age. And they use that for defense against predators. as well as to, yeah, to compete with other males. Now, they look a little bit different than the domestic turkey. You can see the domestic turkey is often has a lot of white on it. Domestic turkeys have also been bred to have even bigger breasts because that's the main part you eat in the Thanksgiving feast. And so they've been so overbred for that they really can't fly. Now, turkeys do make a lot of noises. Of course, they gobble, but they can also cluck and purr. Oops, sorry about that. I'm going to show you now a little video, and I hope you can hear it, of this tom turkey gobbling. Isn't that cool? I love that. I just love that. That's so fun. Okay, so let's keep going here. All right. So if you enjoyed learning about turkeys and a little bit about their anatomy, I'd love to invite you to my course. And let me see, how can I do this? There we go. This is always challenging to figure out which one of these works best. Anyway, there. So I'd love to invite you to my course. I do have a link in the chat box. And I'll put that link in there again, I think. Yeah, there it is. So I'm having a Black Friday sale on all 21 of my courses. But today, since we're talking about the honored bird of Thanksgiving, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about that course. But you can go to my website at christineelder.com/courses and see the whole list of all of my courses. I teach people about invertebrates and insects and fishes, amphibians and reptiles and birds and mammals and nature journaling and nature sketching, painting, and I even have a travel course since I do a lot of international travel when I'm teaching. And so you can check out that link. And my Black Friday sale is available just through this Saturday at midnight. And you get 60% off. So most of my courses are going to be around $50, which when you take into account all of the workshops and lessons in those courses, it's only about $1 per hour for those courses. So I want to tell you a little bit more, if you give me a chance, that you can learn so much about birds in this course called Sketching Backyard Birds for Beginners. And even if you don't want to sketch, if you're afraid of drawing, that's okay. Really, about at least 50% of the value of this course, what I focus on is identifying different families of birds, and then also how to sketch them in the field, usually casual field sketching, so that you can become a better birder through the process of drawing. So I don't teach drawing as a method of like making fine art that you're going to frame or sell like a lot of folks. My emphasis is more on teaching you about the natural history and ecology and anatomy of plants and animals, like in this bird course, to become a better naturalist or a better birder. So I teach you about a lot of the major families in North America, and some of those families are found in Eurasia as well, Europe primarily. So just because you don't live in the United States doesn't mean this course isn't for you. So I cover a lot of common families like cardinals, warblers, thrushes, sparrows, woodpeckers, finches, doves, all of those guys. And I give you a lot of tips. In fact, I have about 4 major sections of the course that talk about the anatomy of certain parts of birds and how they really differ among birds. Like, for example, if you were going to learn to draw birds' heads, the head of a hummingbird, of course, looks a lot different than the head of a woodpecker. So I teach you a lot about how animals see, how animals eat, and that sort of thing. And going all the way down to their tails. So birds have really variable tails, including these beautiful booted racket tail hummingbirds, which I've seen in the Central America and South America as well. And so I give you all these lessons about that. And then lots of downloadable handouts like the 6-step roadmap to sketching success. And I teach you about birds through the process of coloring as well. And there are a lot of fun downloadable resources that are not only for adults that love to color for relaxation, but also for kids. So if you've got some kids that need to be entertained during Thanksgiving, you'll be able to download my coloring books and they can color those while the adults are visiting with each other. So one of my books that's a download is called Tropical Birds. And another one is called Migratory Birds. And this is a 26-page book with examples of both the colored in bird as well as the outlines for you to color so you can create accurate drawings of them. And so here's an example of the palm warbler and the Wilson's warbler colored in. So that's one of the big benefits of this Sketching Backyard Birds for Beginners course. Now, speaking of turkeys, those were our featured species today. And so I do have a more in-depth presentation inside the paid course on how to draw turkeys. And I show you a few different methods, like this really fun method in oil pastels. You could also use chalk pastels. And then a more detailed method of, well, I can't find him, but he's on the screen there, of the colored pencil that is very detailed of the head anatomy. So my Sketching Backyard Birds course has various lessons on drawing in graphite pencil, charcoal, colored pencil, oil pastels, and even painting in watercolor. So it also includes 2 bonus courses. And one of them is on hummingbirds because there are over 300 species of hummingbirds, and a lot of those are in the tropics where I've traveled extensively. So I did a whole course on those since they're a very popular group of birds. And then another bonus course called Stick Figures to Songbirds in 60 Minutes. And that's my very much my introductory foundational course to help you get up and running really quickly with my basic tips on how to get drawing so that you can feel more confident with the rest of the course. So those are 2 bonuses that come with the course. And also, when you purchase the Sketching Backyard Birds for Beginners course, there's a link to upgrade to my Sketching Neotropical Birds. And again, since I've traveled extensively in the neotropics from Mexico all the way down to Peru, I've studied a lot of these families in the field, and I wanted to have a whole separate course for those. And so you get to upgrade to that. And you'll learn about families that are exclusive to the neotropics, like tanagers and quetzals and manakins and motmots. And many of these birds I have videos of that I've shot myself that are in the courses. So you can use those videos for live sketching practice, especially over the coming winter when you can't get outside and maybe you can't travel. You can use those videos that I've created. Now, why should you trust me as your drawing mentor for purchasing this course called Sketching Backyard Birds for Beginners? Well, first, I love to teach. Here's me teaching at the Vallarta Botanical Gardens annual bird festival. And so I love teaching people in person if possible. Here's another picture of me teaching kids how to draw hummingbirds in Honduras. I also have lots of bird guiding experience. I've co-led tours everywhere from Alaska to Southeast Arizona to Italy to Mexico. And I've got lots of field sketching experience. In fact, one of my favorite things to do is doing what's called a birding big sketching day, where I try to sketch as many birds as possible in one daylight day from 6 to 6 in the tropics. And so I've done that in Costa Rica and Mexico and Guatemala and Honduras and Peru and where else? Ecuador. So that's super fun. And I've been a featured artist at festivals and conferences like this Winter Wings Birding Festival we have right here in Oregon. And I did the logo for that, which was the American kestrel, which is another bird that I teach you about in my Sketching Backyard Birds for Beginners course. And I'm a professional illustrator. I specialize in sketching birds. And my current project I'm working on is a 6-book series in collaboration with Princeton University Press. And these are just 3 of the sample covers. And so I love sketching birds in really colorful, fun, but accurate ways, like these splendid fairy wrens, all the way to these various ant birds in the neotropics. So I do have lots of testimonials, but one of my most recent was from this summer when I was teaching in Panama. And this student said, "Christine is an amazing instructor. Having her as a facilitator and guide was an inspiring and wonderful experience." And you can get that 60% discount for my course, Sketching Backyard Birds for Beginners, at only $50. So when you count all of the workshops inside of this course, it works out to be about about $1 per hour of content, because I really teach you about so many of the birds, different families. And there we go. So yeah. Oh, there we go. Right. So if you want to learn more about sketching backyard birds for beginners and sketching neotropical birds, as well as all of my other courses, you can go to my website at christineelder.com/courses. And that's where you can find the link to see all of those courses. And if you want 60% off, you just enter the code Black Friday on the checkout page. And so again, at that discount, most of my courses are only about $50 each. Which is actually just about $1 per course, depending on the course. Certainly my Sketching Backyard Birds for Beginners is probably one of my biggest courses because I am primarily a bird watcher, and I love teaching people how to identify birds and become better birders through the process of sketching them. So I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope you really enjoyed learning a bit more about the honored bird of our Thanksgiving feast, the wild turkey, which is the wild relative of the bird that many of us will be making a Thanksgiving feast out of on Thursday. So I hope you are remembering to start defrosting that turkey, and I hope you enjoy however you make your turkey, whether it's baked or roasted or deep fried, however you make it. So I hope you really enjoyed learning a little bit about the biology and anatomy and identification of the wild turkey. And I hope you consider checking out my courses at christineelder.com/courses. Again, I've got 21 online courses, and I've got courses on invertebrates and on fishes and amphibians and reptiles, and 4 courses on birds and sketching and drawing mammals, as well as courses on travel, because I've traveled a lot internationally during my time of guiding birding tours and guiding nature sketching trips and teaching at festivals. So, anyway, that's 21 courses. They're all on sale, Black Friday sale, which in the United States we call Black Friday because it's the day after Thanksgiving, which is on Thursday. And so that's our sale, and it goes, my sale actually goes through Saturday at midnight, I believe, is when that coupon code expires. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And actually, tomorrow, which is Wednesday, I will be doing one more actual active workshop where I'll be teaching you the basics of how to draw a turkey. So it's just going to be a 30-minute quick last workshop before the Thanksgiving holidays. So if you want to join me, that's going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific. And there are links in both Instagram and Facebook, and I'll put one on YouTube. And if you're on my mailing list, you probably already got a link to that. So I hope to see you there. Okay, I'm going to get going and going to keep working on thawing out my turkey for Thanksgiving. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.